Or you may be feeling like life's just happening to you, not really by you. You know, you fall asleep mind racing, wondering why success always feels just out of reach. What if I told you the key to changing your entire waking reality lies hidden in how you approach your nights? Tonight, we're doing a deep dive that honestly could completely transform how you think about sleep. We tend to see sleep as, well, passive, right? A time our minds just power down for a rest. But our sources for this deep dive, drawing heavily from the pretty profound wisdom of Napoleon Hill, they paint a radically different picture. It's incredibly empowering. This isn't just about getting more shut-eye. It's about actively, deliberately shaping your destiny while you sleep.
It really is. What Hill's getting at, and it's quite a revelation, is that your mind, it never actually switches off. Even when your body's resting, your subconscious is working away. Processing, building, and this is critical, receiving instructions. Instructions based on your dominant thoughts. It's like this silent command center running 24/7. It's constantly shaping your reality based on the input you give it. Or sometimes the input you don't consciously give it.
Right. So our mission today is to give you a powerful blueprint, a way to take command of those really sacred hours. We want to help you transform your subconscious into your most powerful ally. This deep dive should equip you to become the deliberate architect of your own future, yeah?
Yeah.
Not just sitting back and waiting. Get ready, because this might really shift how you see your nights.
Okay, let's dive into that core idea then.
Yeah.
What's actually happening in your mind when your body's asleep? Our source really hammers home this concept, and it might challenge what you think you know. The idea that your mind never truly goes to sleep when your body does. It's always active, always working. It absolutely is, and it just flips our whole perspective on rest, doesn't it? Hill isn't saying your conscious brain is, churning out thoughts constantly like during the day, but the subconscious, that huge, powerful engine, it's always on. It's, as he puts it, listening, absorbing, and executing silently, obediently, and without pause. Which means every dominant thought, every habit, every fear, it's continually working, shaping your reality even while you dream.
And this is where the metaphor our sources use gets really vivid. It's important for you to really picture this. Your mind is a garden, okay? And the hours of sleep, that's the richest soil for mental planting. Why is sleep so potent for this mental gardening?
Well, it's because when you're asleep, you're essentially free from the usual filters, the gatekeepers of your conscious mind. Hill says, you have no resistance, no logic to block you, no environment to distract you. All that everyday noise, the self-doubt, the rationalizations, they just kind of step aside for a bit. And that leaves your subconscious wide open, purely receptive to suggestion, pure, raw suggestion. It's the ultimate fertile ground for planting new ideas, new beliefs without interference.
That really raises a crucial question then, doesn't it? What are you planting in that incredibly fertile ground each night? Because, our source points out, far too often people drift off thinking about their failures, their debts, their worries. They're essentially just pouring weeds into that mental garden night after night. And then they wake up wondering why they feel no stronger, no clearer, no closer to their goals. But you, listening now, you're here because you want to become the deliberate gardener of your own mind. To plant on purpose, right? To feed your mind like a master, not a drifter. It's all about being intentional with those precious, potent hours. So, okay, if our mind is always active and it's this super fertile garden, how do we intentionally plant what we want to grow? What's the master tool here? Our source is really clear on this. Auto-suggestion.
Yes, auto-suggestion. And as Hill defines it, this is way more than just, wishful thinking or repeating positive affirmations. He calls it a profound self-command issued with belief, repeated with persistence, backed by desire, and absorbed by the subconscious through emotion. Let's maybe break that down for a sec, because every single part of that definition is vital.
Exactly. It's not just saying words emptily. It's self-command issued with belief, meaning you genuinely have to believe deep down that what you're telling yourself is achievable. It's repeated with persistence because, as we'll see, consistency is just non-negotiable here. It's backed by desire because lukewarm wishes, they just don't have the power to move the subconscious. And crucially, it's absorbed by the subconscious through emotion. You have to feel it. You have to internalize it for it to truly take root in that garden.
And that element of repetition, that's the core mechanism, really. The subconscious mind learns through repetition. It's like water dripping on a stone, persistently smoothing it over time. That's how you install new beliefs, how you build that unshakable confidence, how you fundamentally rewire your identity. Hill puts it beautifully. Just as water smooths stone through endless persistence, so too will your new thoughts carve out the man you have chosen to become. It's this continuous transformative process.
And if you think about some of the historical figures mentioned, people like Henry Ford or Thomas Edison, they seem to get this instinctively, didn't they? Ford, for instance, he visualized entire assembly systems running efficiently before they were even invented, just saw it running in his mind. Edison, known for his incredible intensity, he often drifted into unconsciousness on his workbench, focused so intensely on solving problems that the solutions would arrive in the night. What were they actually doing, fundamentally?
They were, as Hill would say, giving orders before they slept, and those orders bore fruit. It's a powerful phrase. They weren't just vaguely hoping for solutions or success. They were issuing definite, clear instructions to their subconscious minds. For Ford, it was seeing the entire system complete, running perfectly. For Edison, it was that intense focus on the problem, trusting his deeper mind to deliver the answer. It's about being incredibly deliberate with your mental input, treating your mind less like a suggestion box, maybe, and more like a highly trained operational unit.
This leads to what might be one of the most profound statements in our source material. Thought repeated becomes belief, belief repeated becomes habit, habit repeated becomes identity, and identity shapes every decision, every action, every result. It's this powerful chain reaction, isn't it? You are, as Hill argues, never not becoming something. Your identity isn't this fixed thing, it's actively constructed, and the amazing part is you get to be the builder.
Exactly. And the world shouldn't choose that identity for you. You have to build it deliberately, with real intention. The idea is to speak to your subconscious as a general addresses his troops, or as a master addresses his servant. It's a language of command, of certainty.
That's right. And the key is using the language of I am, I do, I act, rather than I want or I wish. Because if you keep telling your mind you want something, what does it believe? It believes you don't have it yet. And so it perpetuates that state of wanting, of lacking. The subconscious, Hull reminds us constantly, does not argue, it does not resist, it accepts what is repeated with emotion, it just obeys. All right, now that we've grasped the sheer power of autosuggestion and how incredibly receptive our sleeping mind is, let's get down to the practical tools, the gardening tools, if you like. How do we strategically cultivate that fertile mental soil? Our sources give us several really powerful techniques, and the first one is all about replacing fear with faith.
Yeah, this is absolutely foundational. Hill identified what he called the 6 basic fears. Fear of poverty, criticism, ill health, loss of love, old age, and death. He describes them almost like ghosts that walk the hallways of the subconscious mind whispering lies. And those lies, those whispers, they can absolutely paralyze us.
So what's the antidote then? How do you fight back against these insidious whispers?
The antidote isn't just trying not to be afraid. It's about consciously, actively replacing those fears with specific, empowering truths. So for instance, if you grapple with the fear of poverty, you don't just weakly say, I hope I won't be poor. No. You replace it forcefully with an affirmation like, I live in abundance. I'm the type of person who attracts wealth and opportunity.
Yeah.
You see the difference? It's not just removing the negative. It's actively installing a new, positive, empowering pattern. As the source says, a man cannot just stop being afraid. He must start being something else. You're literally upgrading your mental operating system.
Building on that, once we're working on replacing those fears, what's the next practical step for shaping our mental garden? Our source talks about organized planning, but it sounds like much more than just making a to-do list, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Much more profound. Hill makes this bold claim. 5 minutes of nightly thought can remove 5 hours of daytime confusion. Think about that. This isn't just scheduling tasks. It's about making your nightly planning a ritual of mental preparation and, dare I say, spiritual alignment. You end each day by becoming a mental architect. You define your priorities, you plan your next 3 steps, very specific. You visualize your day unfolding exactly as you intended to, and you command your subconscious to act on those plans while you sleep. Your subconscious, remember, builds in silence and works best when you give it clear, definite, emotionalized instruction. This planning provides exactly that.
It makes me think of people like William Wrigley Jr., the chewing gum guy. He didn't just stumble into success. He created a simple, organized plan to market it persistently everywhere, always. That kind of consistency, forged in deliberate thought, that's what forces the invisible ideas to take shape in the real world. Okay, so from planning, we move to absorbing specialized knowledge. Now, in our age of constant scrolling and information overload, this piece of advice feels particularly relevant. Our source advises reading something powerful, not a full book, a focused idea, a tool, a truth for just 10 minutes before sleep. Then, critically, you close the book and you meditate. You really ponder that single idea as you drift off.
This is all about digested knowledge becoming applied power. It's not about passive consumption, scrolling endless feeds. It mirrors how great thinkers, like Albert Hubbard, used concentrated, repeated reflection to truly transform information into wisdom. By focusing intently on one powerful idea just before sleep, your subconscious gets to work on it. It absorbs the impressions, connects the dots in ways your conscious mind can't, and turns theory into practical power while you rest. It's like giving your subconscious a very specific, high-value assignment overnight.
Another really powerful technique is controlled attention. We've all heard the saying, what you focus on expands, but how do we actually harness that power nightly?
Well, our source lays out the challenge quite clearly. Train your mind to hold one thought, one image, one aim for 10 minutes nightly. Now, this isn't just idle daydreaming. Hill describes this as cultivating spiritual magnetism. When you focus your mind that intently, he says, all the powers of your subconscious start arranging themselves around that central thought. They supply ideas, connect concepts, and charge that idea with such intensity that it naturally leads to decisive action later. Think of it like focusing sunlight with a magnifying glass versus just letting it diffuse. That focused beam has real power.
Andrew Carnegie is a great example here. He had one thought: to dominate the steel industry. That was it. His attention was not scattered, it was organized, it was deliberate. He didn't just wish for it, he mentally commanded it with intense, unwavering focus. And that focused energy, well, it manifested spectacularly. Now, this final technique in our strategic cultivation toolkit, this one is truly unique, maybe one of the most intriguing, the mastermind alliance. Can you unpack what Hill means by forming an invisible council in your imagination?
It is a fascinating concept, isn't it? And potentially incredibly powerful if you really embrace it. Hill suggests you can literally form an invisible council right there in your imagination. You choose, say, 5 figures, could be historical figures you admire, personal mentors, even symbolic figures, people whose qualities you want to emulate, maybe Abraham Lincoln for his fortitude, Napoleon Bonaparte for decisiveness, maybe Emerson for clarity of thought.
Yeah.
Whoever resonates with you.
Okay, so you choose your council, then what? What do you do with them?
You invite them into your mental chamber each night in your imagination. You ask questions, present dilemmas to them. You lay out your challenges, and then you listen. And listening here isn't just auditory. It's about being receptive to insights, intuition, the nudges from your subconscious. The really profound part is that by studying their qualities, by internalizing their philosophies, by regularly meeting with them and contemplating their wisdom, your subconscious starts building these composite impressions. It allows you, as Hill says, to summon them at will and, in a very real way, absorb their strengths. Their words, he says, will arise from you, but not of you. It's an amazing way to kind of break free from feeling mentally isolated and instead walk in the company of greatness, tapping into a broader wisdom.
Wow. Okay, so these practices replacing fear, planning, absorbing knowledge, focusing attention, the mastermind, they're incredibly powerful. But they aren't just magic spells, right? Our source is clear. They operate under powerful, unseen laws. The first one Hill calls the cosmic habit force. Now that sounds pretty grand, doesn't it? What is that really at its core?
It does sound grand, yeah. But stripped down, it's the simple, undeniable truth that what you do repeatedly becomes who you are. It's the law of habit, elevated. Think about a path in a forest. The more you walk it, the clearer and more defined it becomes. It's the same in your brain, in your being. This is the unbreakable law that makes permanent whatever you consistently repeat, good or bad.
So it's not really about brute willpower forcing you to change every single day.
Not entirely, no. Consistency, driven by that initial decision, bends your entire being toward your desired image. It allows you to become disciplined, focused, fearless, not just by white-knuckling it, but because it becomes your natural state. It gets ingrained. Hill uses this progression. 1 repetition is a seed, 10 is a root, 30 is a structure, and 90 is a law written into your nervous system. It highlights that you're not fighting some enemy within. You're simply patiently replacing an old, outdated pattern with a new, desired one. And this law, the cosmic habit force, it doesn't judge. It doesn't care if you plant weeds or wheat. It just faithfully obeys whatever you consistently feed it. It operates without emotion, not favoring the strong or punishing the weak.
Okay, that makes sense.
Next up, burning desire. Our sources call this the spiritual fuel, the master emotion. How critical is this piece? If we look at the whole system, burning desire is utterly foundational. You could say it's the end. Without it, Hill says, the subconscious receives nothing more than a whisper. And it does not move for whispers. It moves for fire. Your desire has to be specific, spoken, emotionalized, and repeated with fire. That fire, that intense emotion, is what gives force to the repetition. It gives meaning to any sacrifice involved. It turns inert knowledge into driving power. Without that intense emotional charge, the whole system kind of fizzles out, because the subconscious primarily responds to thoughts that are supercharged with feeling.
You think of Andrew Carnegie again, his desire to dominate steel was apparently white hot. Thomas Edison enduring something like 10,000 failed attempts for the light bulb that wasn't mild interest, that was burning desire. Henry Ford insisting on the V8 engine when all his engineers said it was mechanically impossible. In every case, that burning desire simply does not entertain defeat. It's the relentless driving force behind the entire transformation. Then we get to persistence, and our sources really crystallize this into what they call the 90-day challenge.
Right, this is where the commitment really gets tested. Hill states very clearly that all transformation happens in silence before it shows up in substance. Think of roots growing underground long before you see any fruit on the tree. It's the same principle. He tells that powerful, almost heartbreaking story of the man who stopped digging just 3 feet from gold because he quit too soon. He lost faith. So the explicit instruction for you, the listener, is framed as a 90-day contract with yourself. Commit to your chosen nightly practice without missing a single night for 90 days.
Why 90 days specifically? Why is that period so vital?
Well, it's not necessarily about seeing huge external results within those 90 days, though you might. It's primarily about proving to your subconscious mind, the deep operator, that this change is real, that it's permanent.
Yeah.
You are serious. The subconscious does not work on your schedule, Hill warns, but if your effort is definite, it must obey. That sustained persistence over 90 days is like spiritual faith in motion. It's the proof required to rewrite those deep ingrained patterns and make the new identity your automatic default setting.
And finally, there's a law that can feel a bit counterintuitive at first glance. Detachment. Planting and letting go.
Yes, this one can be tricky, but it's perhaps the most advanced and maybe most crucial spiritual discipline in the whole process. After you've done the work, you've clarified your desire, you've planned, you've visualized, you've affirmed, you must then release the outcome. But crucially, this release comes not from apathy, but from absolute faith. Think about it like planting a literal seed. Prepare the soil, you plant the seed, you water it, you tend it. But you don't keep digging it up every single day to anxiously check if the roots are growing, do you?
No, of course not. That would kill it. You trust the process.
Exactly. You trust the process. Hill calls this spiritual composure or mental mastery. If you don't detach, if you stay anxious and worried and constantly checking for results, you risk sending conflicting signals to your subconscious. Anxiety and doubt essentially tell it, hold on, maybe this isn't happening, which stalls, hesitates, and obeys neither voice. True detachment implies such a strong, quiet belief that you no longer need constant external reassurance. You simply know that the harvest will come in season. End quote. Like Henry Ford, who reportedly trusted the invisible forces at work, you focus on your daily execution, not on panicking about the outcome. You've done your part. You trust that the universe, operating through your subconscious, will handle this part.
Okay, so putting this all together, what does this mean for your night, starting tonight? Our source gives us this really powerful 5-part ritual. It integrates all these principles into a concrete blueprint for mastery. It's presented not just as something nice to try, but really as a kind of sacred contract for shaping your future. So, step 1, the clearing. About 30 minutes before you intend to sleep, turn off all the unnecessary input. No scrolling news, no distracting music, just quiet. Clear your space, clear your mind. Create what Hill calls a sacred chamber where this hour belongs to you, completely free from the world's noise and demands.
That clearing is so important. It's about intentionally creating a receptive space, a vacuum for creation, if you will. It signals to your subconscious, pay attention, something important is about to happen. It prepares it to receive your commands.
Step 2, the declaration. You speak your definite chief aim, that core goal aloud. Slowly. With intense emotion, until you literally feel it burning inside you. This isn't just mumbling words, it's a solemn vow. Something like, I fully realize that no wealth or position can long endure unless built upon truth and justice. And you continue with your full memorized aim, feeling every single word resonate. Step 3, the visualization. Close your eyes. Breathe deeply, calmly. And then see yourself in full, vivid detail, already living the life you've just declared. Live in the moment of success before it arrives. See the person you've become. Feel the feelings. Make it absolutely real in your mind's eye. You are that person now.
And this visualization, it's not just passive seeing, it's active experiencing. You want to engage all your senses in this mental rehearsal. Doing that really cements the desired reality into your subconscious, making it feel like the most natural, most probable outcome.
Step 4, The command of identity. Now you speak who you are becoming. With absolute clarity and finality, not, I hope I'll be disciplined, but I am disciplined, I'm certain, I am respected, I am calm under pressure, I am successful because I am definite. You're claiming your future self in the present tense. And finally, step 5, the final affirmation sequence. As you're drifting off, repeat these 5 concluding lines. Let your subconscious absorb them as the very last input before sleep. I am clear, I am confident, I am powerful, I build success every night, I sleep to rise greater. Repeat them maybe 3 times, slowly, with complete unwavering faith.
That entire ritual, and especially that final sequence, it serves as the ultimate instruction set for the night. It's this daily, nightly reinforcement that, working through that cosmic habit force we talked about, irrevocably shapes your identity over time.
And our source really emphasizes this isn't just a nice little ritual, it's a contract specifically, that 90-day contract, do not miss a night. And if you do slip up, if life happens and you miss one, don't beat yourself up, just start the streak again, but complete the full 90 consecutive days to achieve that absolute identity shift. That commitment itself is your proof of burning desire and persistence.
Wow, okay. You've just received a really deep dive into some profound wisdom here. We've reframed sleep from just a passive necessity into an active, powerful workshop for building your future. You're now equipped, hopefully, to be the gardener of your mind, the sculptor of your identity, and the commander of your subconscious.
Yeah, this deep dive has hopefully shown you that your future, it's not some hidden secret you have to stumble upon. It's actually a system, a powerful system waiting to be built night by night. It's a rhythm, almost a mechanical process, that when you apply it with faith and persistence, can lead to genuinely remarkable outcomes. So what does this all boil down to for you tonight and every night from now on? It means remembering that success is not just a moment, it is a habit. That greatness is not merely an emotion, it is a rhythm. And maybe most importantly, your future is not a secret, it is a system.
Yeah.
Your transformation, that profound shift towards the life you truly desire, it really begins in the silence and the stillness and the intentional instructions you give yourself just before you sleep. Your deep dive has concluded. Now go build.